Hello, I'm Jonathan from Boom Instructor Training, and I will be doing something a little different today. Normally, I am giving you help, advice and guidance to help you prepare for either the ADI Part 1, Part 2 or Part 3 test, and I will continue to do that. However, I thought it would be fun today if I had a chat with a qualified ADI, so you can find out and learn what it's like in the real world working as a driving instructor. And do let me know in the comments if this is something that you enjoy watching, because if it is, then I can make more videos like this one. And do bear in mind, if you would like to become a driving instructor, check out my website. There's a link in the top comment. Part 1 training is free, and you can purchase Part 2 or Part 3 video tutorials to help you prepare for the Part 2 and Part 3 tests. And these will teach you everything that you need to know to pass those tests and qualify as an ADI. So let's have a look at the conversation with the qualified driving instructor.
Okay, so I am here with a fully qualified ADI called Rachel. This is Rachel. Now, I do know Rachel fairly well. Do you want to tell the good people watching how we know each other?
Yeah, so you did all my training back in, well, 2020, 2021, overlap of the COVID. But yeah, you got me through the whole process from start to finish.
That's it, brilliant. Yeah, and of course fully qualified now.
Yeah, absolutely.
When did you qualify?
It was the September 21.
Oh, so yes, I remember it was in the whole COVID period, wasn't it?
Yeah, when I first had this idea of becoming a driving instructor, COVID wasn't even a thing.
Yeah.
And then, you know, as soon as I did my theory test, COVID hit, and then obviously all the training had to stop. So.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so I was on a bit of a time scale for getting everything done.
Did it kind of drag on a lot longer than you'd hoped because of that, didn't it, I think?
Yeah, I kind of hoped it would be done and dusted within a year. Kind of when we first met, you said, you know, it's about a year training, but then it was so stop-start. It was kind of just going on, not through any fault of anybody else's.
That's right. Hey, but hey, you did it in the end.
I know, exactly.
You did it in the end. So, what did you do? I want to get a little bit of background for the people watching. What did you do before
I came here?
Yeah.
I worked in an office in Nottingham. I used to have to drive all the way to Nottingham every single day, and I was a client services manager was my title.
Okay.
I would go out and visit clients. It was kind of a customer service sales role. That was what I had to do. I had to travel around a little bit, so I was in the car quite a bit, but yeah, generally office based.
Okay. Did you enjoy that job?
I did enjoy it. I enjoy going out to meet customers and making sure they were happy, but the drive to Nottingham every day with 2 young children was getting the better of me, to be honest. I knew I needed to make a change.
So yeah, so what was the reason you decided, you know, why a driving instructor? What was the reason you decided to do this?
I wanted to be a driving instructor, or should I say it crossed my mind years ago, and I just didn't have the confidence to do anything about it. I didn't really know where to start, and I just thought, like, oh, it's not anything I could do. I didn't think I could do it, to be honest. And it was just getting the better of me, driving to Nottingham every day on my own with the children, so that I need to do something else. This isn't working anymore. And it just came to me. I just thought, I think I could do it.
If I remember right, you knew my sister Jodie.
I knew Jodie, yeah.
And Jodie is a driving instructor as well. You may have seen her on a couple of the videos that we've got on YouTube as well. So you knew, how did you know my sister?
So Jodie's daughter is in the same school year as my eldest. So I saw obviously social media. I saw that she became a driving instructor, and I thought, I'm going to ask her. I'm just going to ask her about it. So obviously you know what it's like. So I spoke to her, and she was like, I didn't know that when she said she worked for Shield that it was actually, you know, a family business.
Which is the driving school, by the way, that I run. It's a local driving school. We're in Mansfield. It's called Shield. Not that I'm trying to plug it on this because the local driving school that I have has got nothing whatsoever to do with Boom Instructor Training or this YouTube channel. But yes, so you work for really our family driving school, don't you? Yeah.
So I spoke to Jodie, and she said, you know, speak to Jonathan. He does all the training. Family business. I thought, actually, that's really appealing, you know, little local company. So yeah, I gave you a call, and the rest is history, really. It went from there.
There you go. Okay, fantastic. And How did you find the training to become a driving instructor? It can be challenging, can't it?
Definitely. I didn't think it was going to be easy, but I thought it actually was harder than I anticipated. Like I said, I didn't think it was going to be a walk in the park, but whether it was the circumstances of COVID and stop-starting, obviously when you pass your theory test, you only have 2 years to qualify, and I was really up against that because of all the lockdowns. So I had quite a lot of pressure. Got made redundant in that time as well, so I was kind of thinking, I need to do this to pay my mortgage.
I know, it's all flooding back to you. I forgot about all this.
Yeah, it was quite a lot happening in that time.
It was stressful at the time.
It was very stressful. Yeah, it was very stressful. But it just gave me that drive to, I need to succeed at this. I need to do this. I want to do this. And yeah, the training was hard, but absolutely worth it.
Yeah, good.
Absolutely worth it.
What did you like? What did you like about the training? What didn't you like about the training?
What did I like? I did like, obviously we did in the car training, and I did like the real life training with, well, obviously the role play with you, but the real life training when you're on a pink license. And I don't think you can replace that, going out with a real life pupil and seeing what they actually do. And you know, we're going right at the roundabout doesn't mean we're turning right at the roundabout. You know, it's the real life, what you absolutely don't expect them to do.
You need, before you take your Part 3 test, you do need practice with real learner drivers, don't you?
I wouldn't have been able to qualify if I'd not done that on the pink licence.
Yeah, that's right, absolutely. And if I remember, I think you also came out and watched me doing some lessons, didn't you?
Yeah, that was really beneficial as well, because you do kind of get into your own rhythm of, this is how I think we're teaching, and if there's nobody else there, they can't correct that if you're doing it wrong. So to come out and watch a lesson, I remember coming out with my notepad and just writing like, oh yeah, that's a good hint, or things I've seen my learners do, your learner would do. And then I think, yeah, that's how you dealt with that. I'm going to take that to my next lesson.
Good, yeah.
So that was really helpful.
And that's why I've created these online video tutorials to show, because you enjoyed watching my lessons from the back seat, but now I'm filming demonstrations of driving lessons. Exactly. And I think that's really invaluable.
Yeah, it is.
I really do. How many, I can't remember, how many attempts did it take you to pass the Part 2 test and then the Part 3 test?
Part 2, first time.
Oh, well done.
Yes.
Very good.
Only one fault.
Wow. Well, you had a good trainer.
I had a good trainer, yeah.
I didn't pass till my second time on my Part 3 test. So you did, what can I say? You outdid me there. Very good.
But it was second attempt on my Part 3. Second attempt on Part 3. But absolutely, when I got the feedback from the examiner, I could see where I'd gone wrong.
Where did you go wrong? Can you remember? I know it was a while ago.
It was a while ago. I actually took a pupil that was test ready. And looking back, I feel like if you take somebody that's test ready, you need to really show what you're teaching them. Because if they already know everything, you know, what are you actually teaching them? So on the second attempt, I took somebody that was a little bit of a lower standard, and then I could really show my skill to what help they needed.
Well, I think that's great advice actually for anybody that's watching this, isn't it? Because I agree. I think taking up a test-ready standard pupil isn't ideal.
Yeah, I was thinking, oh, this is going to be easy because I'm not going to need to do much here. That's not the point of it. And
that, and if you don't need to do much, you can't really show the examiner your ability, can you?
Absolutely. So that was definitely, I think, where I went wrong.
Yeah. And you mentioned that you used a trainee license. Would you recommend to other people to use a trainee license or not to use a trainee license?
Definitely. Yeah? I think if you don't go on a trainee license, you don't get a real insight to the job and what it entails and what pupils do. When you ask them to do something, you know, they don't know. You can't take anything for granted what you're asking them to do. So you've got to get that on the job training, 100%. 100%, yeah.
I think that's good advice, although it's not convenient for everybody to go on a train. It depends on the individual circumstances. People can practice in their own car, put L plates on, get short-term learner driver insurance, but I agree.
For my circumstances, obviously I had the time with me being made redundant to be able to dedicate that to just doing this. Yeah.
Plus, of course, she was with, you know, even if I say so myself, it's a very professional driving school that we run, and so you was properly being supervised. And I remember we had lots that you'd come in to see me every week. What did we do? What was what?
So we would. I would make notes on all my lessons throughout the week. We'd go through those if I'd got any questions. Obviously, if there'd anything been particularly tricky that week, because while you're learning, there's always something that you don't necessarily know how to deal with 100%. So I could bring those to you each week and just sort of say, you know, this is what happened. I dealt with it like this. Could I have dealt with it better? And that kind of thing, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm actually doing Zoom calls, so if anybody watching would like a one-on-one Zoom call with me, and I can do exactly the same for yourself on a video call, because it was really helpful, wasn't it?
Definitely.
Okay then, good. So now you're fully qualified then. How many hours, because the great thing about this job is the flexibility, isn't it? So how many hours a week do you work? What works for you?
So I have got 2 young boys at home, so I work at the minute a 9 till 3 diary, and again that is one of the main things that was appealing about the job, that I plan my own diary.
That's nice. And you can you find, because I mean I don't, my sister manages the driving school, so I don't really know who's doing what anymore, so you're just doing, that's really good. 9 till 3,
9 till 3, I fit 3 hour-and-a-half lessons in that time.
Oh, nice.
And finish sort of 2:30, 3 o'clock.
That's nice working hours, isn't it?
Definitely.
That's really nice. And there's plenty of pupils available for you to fit them into those times.
Obviously I'm a manual car, so a lot of mine are the younger, you know, just 17, either at college or doing A-levels, so you know their timetable usually fits where they get a day off or they have an afternoon off, so it works quite well.
Brilliant. Well, that sounds great. So you basically fit in the job around your life, whereas when you're employed, you have to fit you know, your life around the job, really, don't you? So that's good. Let's talk about, I don't want to know specific details, but are you generally happy with the money that you earn? Do you find as a driving instructor, working those hours that you've said, you're earning enough money to, you know, live a comfortable life?
Yeah, definitely. I think you've got to be careful because you are self-employed. You've got to be organised and, you know where you are with that aspect of it. You know, I'm sure it's very appealing to people when they see the hourly rate, but you have to be honest. You've got to take into account you've got a car to run, you've got the fuel. If you're in a franchise, you've got the franchise fee.
So what's obviously I know what hourly rate, but do you want to tell the people watching what is the current, as of this moment in time that we're filming this, what is the current hourly rate that we charge?
It's just gone up to £38 an hour.
So we're £38 an hour. And do you give discounts to your pupils?
No, I don't. I do get asked. People ask if you do a block booking, do you do discounts, or friends ask for discounts sometimes. But no, I don't. Generally because we're all in the same driving school. I think it's unfair if I was to offer a discount and then somebody else said, oh well, they went with them and they got a discount, aren't you?
That's right. So we don't do any discount. We stopped discounting years ago. When was it now? A couple of years ago, maybe a year ago, I can't remember, but we made the decision to stop doing any, so we don't do any kind of discount on a first lesson, we don't do any block booking discounts. It's just £38 per hour regardless of how many hours somebody buys. Has that had a negative effect on the amount of work we get?
No, definitely not.
It hasn't, has it?
Definitely not. No, there's that much work at the moment. I get a lot of recommendations and people, you know, word of mouth, social media.
Yeah, that's right. So I think a big tip is you do not need to do discounting for driving lessons. If you do a good job and you build a good reputation and you're reliable, you know, you have good customer care, you get the basics right, you're teaching people to drive properly, people are happy to pay that hourly fee, aren't they? They really are. Let's talk about your car then. There's lots of different cars that driving instructors use. What car do you use?
I've got a Renault Clio. I love it.
Okay.
It's really nice to drive. I find the pupils really like it. They find it really nice to drive.
I've driven your car. I remember. Why did I drive your car?
Must have been the role play.
Must have been, yeah. Must have used your car because you were on the trainee licence, wasn't you? So we must have used it. So I just remember how forgiving the clutch was. Yeah. I remember doing the role play. I was trying to stall the car. I was pretending to be a learner, trying to stall the car, kind of letting the clutch up, and it just wouldn't. It was so forgiving. It's very
difficult to stall. Yeah.
It was really, really. It was really, really good. Yeah. I just want to say something about role play because it can work for PDIs. A lot of the time it doesn't though, okay, and I think it's really important to make this point because it worked for you because, not blowing my own trumpet, but I'm good at it.
Yeah.
I can do it does feel unrealistic.
It is awkward.
It's awkward.
Yeah.
It can feel a little bit cringy, okay?
Yeah.
Because to do role play, the ADI trainer that's doing it, you've got to, it's not the same job as being an ADI. You've got to kind of be a little bit of an actor.
Yeah.
You've got to kind of make it feel, so the faults that you make have got to be done in a realistic way. But at the same time, you've got to come in and out of role play, give feedback, and then go back into role play. In my experience, there are not many ADI. There will be some people out there that's very capable, like I am, at doing role play. But I know for a fact, there is a lot of people that pay out for role play, and the ADI trainer, they are useless at doing role play. That is one of the reasons that I've done my video tutorials. Because if you're watching this and you think, oh, I'm doing role play and I hate it and I don't understand it, that's because probably the person that's doing the role play isn't particularly very good at it. But if you buy my video tutorials, they will show you the competences, the skills that you need to become an ADI. So role plays can be good if you're lucky enough to have a trainer that can.
I think the thing is as well with the role play, you know that you can jump out of role at any time. So it was like, although I was trying to think you're the learner, you don't know I need to be doing everything, I did know that if we got into a situation, you could just go, oh, don't worry, I'll deal with this.
Yeah, I wasn't really going to crash the car.
Exactly,
was I?
yeah.
Yeah, okay, then good. So you work on a franchise.
Yeah.
Some driving instructors that when they qualify, they go independent from the go-get. Other driving instructors choose to join a franchise. For you, what are the benefits that you find paying that weekly franchise fee and being part of an established driving school? Why does that work for you?
I think it gives you a good, it's like a support network. Obviously Jodie's really on hand with the business. She will, you know, even if she'll say every week, do you need any more pupils? But even if I say no, she'll say, I've got one that lives around the corner from you, do you want it? And I'll say, actually, maybe yes, or, you know, they can, but in a few weeks when I've got some more space. So it's really nice that she's really flexible like that. I think it's nice to be a part of the team. You know, we have team events, and just some of the other guys that I've spoken to, you know, they're really, when I was new, or even now still, you know, they'll say, let's go for a coffee, let's have a chat. I know Matt took me around a few of the routes and things.
They never invite me for a coffee, by the way. When did all this happen? Well, how come I never get invited?
I think you were on holiday.
Oh, really? I bet I was, yeah.
It's a good team. It's nice to have a team. You can feel very isolated in this job, and it's nice to have that team around you.
That's a good point. I do get invited to the Christmas party.
Yeah.
That's about it, though.
Probably because we hope you're paying.
I might buy the drinks, maybe. So what is, because people watching this will be thinking, well, when I qualify, should I go independent or should I join a franchise? There are some really good driving schools out there that provide good quality value for money franchises, and then there's some not so good ones. What is a good value franchise? Why does it work for you? What are the benefits? You know, you're paying us a weekly fee. What are you getting out of it?
I think the support is one of the main ones, but secondly, obviously, of course, if I need any extra work, it's there. You know, people looking online, I would say a lot are looking for a franchise or, you know, a big name. You know, around here, Sherwood's one of the biggest. It comes up straight away when you Google it. Whereas the independent ones, people might be put off if it's just Joe Bloggs' driving school. You know, it can be less appealing to people if you get a recommended driving school.
And I think as well, for a good franchise, a good quality franchise, so if you're thinking of going on a franchise, and let me know what you think about this, Rachel, but I think there's two things. Number one, you shouldn't be having to give massive discounts on your lessons. You know, either if you're paying a weekly franchise fee, and then on top of that, the people that own the driving school are saying, and you need to discount your lessons, what are you paying that franchise fee for? And number two, I think one of the reasons that you're happy with the franchise and the other instructors that's with us, and this is something that you want to think about if you're thinking of going on a franchise, how far do you travel for your lessons?
5 minutes.
What's the furthest people from your house?
I've got one that's about 12 minutes, but
From
that's
your house?
yeah, that's a long-standing one, and I feel that that's a long distance. The rest are like 2 minutes down the road.
Yeah, so you've got so you said you work between 9 till 3 Monday to Friday, and all of your pupils are within less than 12 minutes from your house.
Absolutely, yeah.
Now that is what you should look for in a franchise. If or not me, because I'm not involved with it particularly anymore. If my sister said, I've got a new pupil for you, and it's a 30-minute drive away from where you live, what would you say?
I'd say no thank you. No thank you. But I have to account for, if I've only got 6 hours, you've got to allow time from lesson to lesson, quick toilet stops in between that, lunch.
Where do you go to the toilet? Do you have to? Man, you can come home though.
I go home. Yeah, exactly. I don't know how I used to leave the house at 8 and come in at 6. Like, literally every hour and a half I'll come home.
Yeah.
So it's great.
Okay. I suppose you could always nip to a supermarket.
Yeah, you could. You could nip. If you go into Costa, or you can nip. Yeah, it would work. Yeah, it could work for you. Yeah.
I remember when I first started as a driving instructor, as a while ago now. So this would have probably been 1998 or 1999. I remember being desperate for a wee on a lesson, and I pulled into this pub. It's just not far from here, but I won't say which one it was. And it was about 11:30 in the morning, so there's nobody in the pub. So I just walked straight in and walked straight to the toilet. The landlord, he followed me into the toilet, and he had really shouted at. I was
God.
Mid having a wee. What are you doing? I said, I'm having a wee. Get out my pub.
Oh my God.
I know. I said, I can't. I'm in the middle of having a. Are you going to buy anything? I says, no, I'm just desperate for a wee. I've just come in for a wee. At least buy a packet of crisps, he said. At least buy a packet. I don't know whether he was like desperate for money or something. But I said, I don't want to buy a packet. You're bored, he said. You're bored. Never come in here again. I said, well, I won't do. Don't worry about it, mate.
Don't want to now.
Yeah, be careful where you go for a wee. You have to be careful. What is the secret to being a good driving instructor?
Good question. I would say you've got to be yourself. You can't fake it. Like, you've got to be pretty outgoing. You've got to be pretty relaxed. You can't be tense. And if you're nervous as the passenger, what is your learner going to feel like? You've got to be patient. Definitely. Some people take longer than others, and you've just got to go with that. You can't have any expectation that just because one person learned in 5 hours, that everybody's going to learn that in 5 hours. So I think definitely patience and just being yourself. You can't fake this job. Every day is a school day. You've got to keep on learning. You've got to be open to keep on learning as well.
Yeah, I think that's right. You have got to just be yourself, haven't you? And you can't really try to copy anybody else. You've just got to explain things in your own way, in a way that makes sense to you, so it's clear and straightforward to the pupil. Well, I think that's good. I think that's very good advice. So, what is it you like about being a driving instructor? What's for you? What do you think? Yeah, this is what I really like about this job.
I would say everything, which is really cheesy, but I actually would. It generally is the best decision I ever made, and I wish I had done it sooner.
What held you back then from doing it sooner?
I think just confidence. I just didn't think I could do it. I thought, oh my gosh, it seems...
Because you said you'd thought about it.
Yeah, I thought about it years ago, and I just thought, oh no, I can't do that. I don't know why I thought I couldn't do that, because I've not even looked into what it involved, but I just thought, oh, I can't do it, and then when I was sort of pushed to a point where I needed to change my career, I thought this would work. I'm planning my own diary, more time at home, good salary. It was that kind of drive that did it for me.
So that's it. What do you like about the job? Everything. Well, that sounds
everything.
Good,
Yeah, it's the flexibility it gives you. It's definitely the flexibility it gives you.
Is there anything you don't like about the job? No job is perfect, and I've always really enjoyed doing this job as well. There must be something that you don't like about it. Or are you one of those instructors that just, I blooming love it, and and that's fine.
I think you would probably say, don't get attached to your pupils, but I do. You know me.
Oh, you do, don't you? I remember you talking to me about that before.
I
don't get emotional about it, because you feel real empathy if they, even if they fail a drive. I remember us talking about that, and I said, don't feel, try to detach emotion a little bit from it, because if they, providing you know that you've done a good job, and if they fail, it isn't your fault. But you really feel for them, don't you?
I do. I am a little bit better at that, because I do feel I know I have done everything possible, and going out in the back and watching the tests, and you see what they've done wrong, and you think, yeah, I know what you've done wrong there, and
Would you recommend to anybody watching that they should go out and watch the test? Because you do that, don't you? Sit in the back, don't you?
Yeah, sit on the back. Obviously, it's the pupil's decision, but I do encourage that I go out and watch. It's great for loads of reasons. You get to see test routes. You get to see how the examiner marks things. I kind of run through it in my mind. If I think, oh, we're a bit close to that car then, and I can see the examiner like jotting on their iPad, I think, yeah, that's too close.
So for anybody watching that doesn't know how, because you don't kind of say, oh, I want to come out in the back, do you?
No.
If you can just explain what happens.
So I will speak to my pupils. Some of them already know that it's a possibility, and they'll ask me straight from the get-go, and then some of them don't even know that that's an option. So I will say, I can come out and sit in the back. Obviously, I'm not allowed to speak or make any noises or anything.
Because the examiner asks, what does the examiner say to the pupil?
They say, would you like your instructor to accompany you on the test?
That's right. So you'd kind of say to your pupil to say yes if they're happy.
So we agree, it's usually the girls. They want you to come with them.
Oh, right, is it?
Yeah, it used to be the girls.
I can't comment on that.
No, so, they just find it a little bit more comfortable, a friendly face. We're quite chatty on lessons, so they find it a little bit strange that it's deadly silent on a test. So they've got a nice friendly face. It's also handy if the pupil does fail. You've been there, you've seen what's happened, you knew where they are, because if somebody's failed and you didn't go with them, if you ask them what's happened, they'll say, I don't know. Where were you? I don't know. Which is just gone a blur when they've got back to the test centre. Although you'll get feedback from the examiner, sometimes you still don't quite get the grasp of exactly what happened.
Have you ever sat in the back on a test and you thought, this my pupil really good, they've got a fantastic chance of passing, and then they just become a different driver?
Absolutely.
Have you?
Test nerves is a real thing.
Yeah,
you do sit in the back like thinking, oh gosh, like what's happened?
This happens. You take somebody for test and they just become a totally different driver, don't they? It's like, how did this happen? Now, let me ask you this. This is an interesting question. How long did it take you after you'd qualified to feel really comfortable teaching pupils? Because I think every ADI goes through a period of, it's a bit challenging when you first start, isn't it? How long did it take you to feel very comfortable in the job?
I would say maybe a year, maybe after I'd done my standards check, because I knew that once I'd qualified, within that 12 months roundabout, I would have to take that test again. And that did feel like it was over me a little bit.
When did you take your standards check? It was
literally 12 months afterwards.
Literally 12 months after? Right, okay, cool.
Yeah. So I had that over. I was aware that would be coming up.
I think I vaguely remember, I think you told me you'd got your standards check. I asked you if you wanted any help, and you said, no, I've got this.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, fair enough. I mean, I respect your confidence. But actually, to be fair, you did great, and you passed it, didn't you? So
and I think after that, because my score had improved as well from my part 3 to the standards check.
Great.
So it gave me that boost. It gave me that confidence.
You had some nice feedback from the examiner, didn't you? Yeah, you said you did really well.
Yeah.
Now, without naming names or anything, or being too specific, but what's the most challenging pupil you've ever had to teach? Can you think of anything that you've just found it really difficult, obviously without specifying who they were or anything like that?
You do get more challenging lessons than others, or more challenging pupils than others. Some, I suppose, you get the ones that think they already know it and don't want any advice,
especially if they've been out with mum and dad. They
already know, and even though you try and talk about how we can improve it, maybe that's not the best way of doing it, they still think they know best. So that's really difficult.
And when they say, well, when I'm with mum or dad, I can do this, have you had that as well? So, well, you're not doing it with me.
So that's really challenging. I think when they've already booked a driving test and it's in 2 months, and you just think we're not going to pass, and they're just determined, they're just, again, they know best, That's quite challenging.
Have you had to have many conversations where you've said we're just going to have to cancel your test and push it back? Yeah.
Yeah, even people that, you know, obviously the wait times at the minute, it makes it challenging anyway to know when people should be having their test, because it's 6 months anyway. So even when people have booked it well in advance, having that conversation to say you're still not ready, it's not a nice conversation, but at the end of the day, this is what my profession is, you know, this is what I've paid a lot of money and had a lot of time and effort to be able to say that to somebody, and I would want somebody to say that to my child if they weren't going to be, you know, safe on the road. What's the point in just having a go at taking your driving test, you know? Yeah,
no, absolutely. I think that's good. Have you got any kind of unusual driving lesson stories? Anything out of the ordinary has ever happened on a driving lesson that you can share with us?
I touched on it a bit earlier when you say, like, we're going right at the roundabout, and even though they give the number exit, that one definitely sticks out in my mind. It was quite early on when I think I'd passed my part 3, and we literally tried to turn right at a roundabout, and I'm like, oh, we're not going that way.
literally going right
into like,
the flow
we're not
of traffic,
going around to the left, so that's a little bit scary.
Yeah, so how did you deal with that? What did you do?
Well, instinct kicks in and you press the brake, try and grab the wheel, but obviously you don't want to alarm your pupil and go like, what are you doing? You know, you can't say that. You have to be
so you
really...
physically intervene. So you leant over and grabbed the wheel like that.
Grab the wheel, you know, press the brake so we're not still travelling at any speed. Obviously, as soon as you do that, the pupil's like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so sorry. And you're like, it's okay, it's fine, let's just, you know, and I sort of take control and just kind of get us out of that situation the best we can.
But like you say, got to keep calm.
Got to keep calm,
in that situation. When you're not being a driving instructor, what do you do? What do you like? I know you've got kids, haven't you? So that will take up a lot of your time. Any hobbies, any interests outside of being a driving instructor?
I like to go to the gym. Well, if I say I like, that's a bit of an over-exaggeration, but I do go to the gym.
I mean, I do a little bit of that, but I'm not sure that I like it.
Exactly, it's necessary.
It's necessary. Actually, it is necessary, isn't it? Because we sat down a lot of the time, and I think one of the problems of being a driving instructor is if you're not careful, you can put the weight on, can't you? You know? I mean, my weight's fluctuated over the years because it's so easy just to... It's
you sat down all day,
Yeah, so you have to make the effort, don't you?
You do have to make the effort, and it's good for you as well. You know, you sat, like I say, in a car, you need to get some fresh air.
You do. That's one of the reasons I got a dog, because it forces me out to go for walks. Yeah, absolutely. If anybody's watching that's thinking of becoming a driving instructor, what would you say?
Do it. Absolutely do it. You've got to give it a go. I think you've got to want to teach people to drive, which sounds really obvious, but I think people can see the hourly rate and think, oh, that's great, that, you know, if you've been in a minimum wage job, you know, it's not just about the money. You've got to want to do this. You've got to want to teach people to drive and understand what that entails.
It's a teaching job, isn't it?
It is a teaching job.
Almost everybody that I speak to, I enjoy driving, so I think I'd be a good driving instructor. It's got nothing to do with it, has it?
No, you're not driving at all the time. You're a passenger, actually.
It's a teaching job, isn't it? You've got to want to teach.
Yeah, you have to be open to all different walks of life. I've met so many different people, so many different types of people as well that I'd never come across in life.
That is true. You have got to be very adaptable and be able to talk to one minute one hour you're teaching a doctor, and then a little bit later on in the day you're teaching somebody completely different, aren't you? You know, so it's fantastic. Well, I think that's it. I think that's been a fantastic conversation. Brilliant. Really interesting. I've really enjoyed that conversation. Have you enjoyed it?
I have, actually.
It's been alright, hasn't it? You was a bit nervous, weren't you?
It is nice to reflect though and think back and, you know, why did I do this? Why, you know, what appealed me to the job? Because anybody that asks me, I've had people ask me, do you think I should do it? Absolutely, give it a go. It's the best decision I ever made.
Brilliant. Well, I think that's a great place to end this chat then. Thank you very much, Rachel, for doing this, and thank you for watching.